Are you ready for the world-changing event that is going to bring humanity into the golden age of consciousness? Well, if you're not...
Tough titty. Tough titty.
Hiya guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and all beautiful souls of planet Earth. I'm Sean Hills, and this is A Soul's Experience, a channel dedicated to helping the human race remember who we really are. We are back in the studio, and it's feeling a little bit cramped. We've been recording music, so we've got the old keyboard stuck over here. We've got the guitar stuck over in this corner, blocking the entrance out of the studio. We've got the laptop over here, which we've been getting the back. So we've just been doing lots of music making, which is why I haven't been making these long videos as much as I have been. But I've been having a little bit of a break, being a bit creative, you know, just having that breathing space, because 2025, wow, what a year. No one's ever going to forget it. I could take a dart and throw it at any month of 2025 and there'd be a headline. There'd be enough headlines to fill 10 newspapers and 10 news channels a million times over, probably, from the amount of activity that was going on last year. And it really, really makes me think how big this world-changing event is really going to be. Because in normal times, I want to put normal into air quotes there, in times of stagnation, which the human race is never truly in stagnation, but it can appear so, we can hit plateau phases. The human race as a whole can get stuck. Just like the individual can have moments of progression in life, moments of where it feels like we're taking 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and moments where it feels like nothing is happening at all. We're just, is this it? Well, the whole of the collective, as a whole consciousness, as a whole living being, which is what we truly are, we can also go through them periods of progression as a human race, periods of taking 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and also periods where it feels like stagnation. And within them periods of stagnation, it's really funny. There are also little mini episodes of progression, you know, ascension, descension, if we want to put it into them terms, stagnation, on top of the grander levels of ascension, descension, and stagnation. There's this beautiful dance that plays out, but it really does feel like the human race has been in a place of pull and push for the last however many thousands of years. And there's a reason for that. We've been in the age of Pisces. Now, the age of Pisces, when I feel the energy of the age of Pisces, there's 2 things that really stand to mind. And these were attributes in the Piscean age. The first one was blind faith. Blind faith played such an important role in the Piscean age because it led to a type of faith. It was the wrong type of faith, because also the other energy I feel in the Piscean age is control. So that blind faith and that control actually went hand in hand, because you had leaders and you had followers. And the followers would never question the leaders who were in power. The pupil, the student, would never ever question the teacher. It was blind faith. And when the student had earned the respect, had taken them steps to become the teacher themselves, they expected the same level. And it was unspoken. They expected the same level of respect from their pupils, from their students. And so it went on. When you were younger, you respected your elders, even if your elders were wrong. Even if your elders were wrong and leading you down a dangerous, vindictive path of bitterness, hatred, violence, and more control, a form of grooming. It is a form of grooming. I'm going to be this dominant figure in the younger people's lives, and it's going to be my way. And in my household, in my community, if I'm that person, these people will follow me and they will walk in my footsteps. And the people, and then you even expect the people under them, whether it be grandchildren, whether it be pupils, students, members of the community, you expect them to follow in them footsteps that you've laid down, even after you're dead. There is a pattern to this world that we must follow, especially in the Western world. Now, I can't speak for the Eastern worlds. I can't speak for the Middle Eastern worlds and the Southern hemispheres and the Northern hemispheres. I can only speak from what I feel, the history of my energy, which I believe has been all over this globe, all over this planet, at different times, all over this universe at different times. But specifically the energy of the timeline we're in now. There's something to do with the Western world that kind of has to change and is changing, because the Piscean age of blind faith and control, it actually benefited a certain type of person. And now we are seeing the type of people it truly benefited, because what is left of that blind faith and that control is a huge gap. A huge gap between those who have and those who do not. In order to control the people, we must give them something that can be taken away. We must put them in a situation of fear, where if they do not do what is expected of them, they will lose what they have. They may not gain anything more by doing what's expected of them. They may not become rich. They may not become wealthy, but they may not lose their home. They may be able to feed their family for one more week. They may not be able to live out their dreams and follow their true purpose in life, but they will not starve to death. Fingers crossed. That control eventually became money. Before that, land. Before that, tribes, women, children, livestock. We've always wanted to control. This pattern that we can see today starts way back before the first bank was ever invented. Way back before the first stock market or even electricity was even being thought about. Technology wasn't even born yet. People still trading in goats. People still trading in gold, in silvers, in precious metals, in food, in grain, in water. But trading, so it was. This could lead to mass opportunity for the human race. We could farm. We can grow as a species. We can lay down roots and have stability, bringing riches and abundance to all. Amen, my brothers and sisters. However, along the way, one of those little deadly sins we hear about in the Bible, greed, took over. Maybe the guy at the top thought, you know what? This month I have got 20 spare bags of grain, but I can trade that for 20 cases of nice Italian wine that's been imported from across the border. And I like this wine, but I'm running out and I'm going dry for the last week of the month. So I'm just going to keep an extra 10 bags for myself. I'm just going to take one bag off my 10 workers per month, just to pay for that extra few, just the extra few bottles of wine. And then another month goes past, and then, do you know, I love this wine, but I've heard there's this thing called cocoa that they've brought in from across the border, this thing that can make chocolate, and that's going to cost me another 5 bags. And you know, the wine's great, and I'm loving my lifestyle, but I need some chocolate with this wine. I need some chocolate in my life. So I'm just going to take an extra half a bag off my workers. Eventually, do you know what happens? The workers ain't got nothing. And you've got one guy living in a big bloody mansion, swimming in wine, bathing themselves in melted chocolate, thinking, I like this. But you know, I just heard of this thing called tobacco that's just come across from... And I've just heard of this thing called a horse and cart, and it can get you around really far. And I've just heard of this, and I've just heard of that, and there's this. And actually, I need 2 houses. Because this house is all covered in chocolate and wine, and it's dirty. I need another house now. I've ruined it. And at some point, greed took over. And the gap got bigger. Now, I might, be exaggerating a little bit and certainly I might be making this story up. But I guarantee that you weren't far off the truth. This is how these things happened. People get a little bit, they want a little bit more. They get a little bit and they want a little bit more. But out of fear. We can see living out of fear. But this has to change, and this will change. Because we have left the Piscean age. We have now entered the age of Aquarius. And this is where things start to get really exciting and really serious. It's all well and good having a laugh, and it's easy for me to sit here right now and crack some jokes and this and that and tell some stories. But the reality is, the true reality is, there's a lot of people on this planet that they don't know what's going on. They don't understand what's going on, and when certain things happen, it's going to be blooming terrifying. I was watching a series about an avalanche that happened in Nepal, around Mount Everest and Kathmandu and the Langtang, I think it's Langtang Valley, or Langtang Valley, I'm pretty sure, all around Nepal and the mountains. This earthquake happened, and the avalanche came out of nowhere. One day people are summiting to Everest, lots of climbers, best day of their life, people going to work, people looking after their families, cooking. Just like that, people were under the rubble. People were under the snow, under the ice. Many, many, many passed over back home in that experience. And there are certain changes that happen on this planet that we are a part of. We are part of in birth, and we are also a part of in death. Death is never something I talk about lightly, and I never used to really want to talk about it at all, having my mum pass away when I was only 14, and then my best friend passing away, and then my other two friends passed away in the same weekend. Me and my little group of friends, me and my family, and just people close to me, we kind of went through this period of, there was a lot of period of loss. There was a lot of period of loss, and you feel like when stuff like that happens, you look around and think, okay, what's going on, and why am I still here when everyone else seems to have disappeared? It wasn't until many, many, many years later when I discovered meditation and spirituality and had spiritual experiences, and then remembered my own near-death experience when I was 6 through meditation, opening up. I must have opened up some gateways that had been blocked, that had been locked. There was a lot of soul searching, a lot of deep diving, shadow work, facing myself in the worst of times, facing myself in the best of times, trying to understand and remember who I really was. Through this contemplation and these exercises, really, these continuous meditation sessions, and crying, the amount of crying I done when I first started meditating, I didn't realise how much pain I was truly in. And this was 6 years ago. But I discovered something. I discovered something so beautiful, that none of my family, my mum, my best friends, my nans, my granddads, none of my family had actually really gone anywhere. Yes, they were in another part of this universe potentially, but they were all around me. They were all everywhere, connected to all of us. It was just the fact that I was still in this dimension with these 5 senses, but I had a new sense waking up. I wasn't sure what to call this sense. I wasn't sure what this was, but all of a sudden I was able to feel and connect and see into the spirit world. I came from a background of being in the care system, an alcoholic mother. I had learning problems, like not really learning. I was always quite intelligent, but my anger, my behaviour. I had 8 years of therapy, art therapy, family therapy, all kinds of therapy, all through my childhood until I was 12 years old. I then got put into a children's home when I was 14, where I completely went off the rails, ended up with a criminal record, went out just doing naughty boy things, taking cars. I grew up in London at the time, and all the other boys in my children's home, they didn't have any family either. So we were acting out, we'd just get together and just go be a menace on the streets of London at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's no justification for breaking people's belongings, taking people's things. There's no justification for that, and I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm just trying to explain that my background was not one of stability and God and spirituality. I fell into addiction big time. I started drinking at 13 years old. By the time I was 16, I was a full-blown alcoholic, having to drink 2 cans of Stella before I could even go to college in the morning. That life with no one around you, no family. I was living, I got moved out of my children's home. I don't want to say kicked out, because I kind of blagged them, told them, I'm ready for life. I could have been there till I was 18. But when I heard I was going to get £60 a week, as long as I stayed in college to live off, I was all up for it. Get me out that door, get me a flat. So there I was in London at 16 years old, drinking, smoking weed, sniffing coke if I could get my hands on it, doing all the drugs, anything I could do to escape my reality I was doing, because anytime I was sober I was in pain. So that lifestyle would quickly go downhill if not checked, and it wasn't. So by the age of 20 I was homeless, and then I was having to really commit crime every single day to eat, shoplift for food and whatever else. I wasn't on heavy drugs like that. I was very, very lucky never to fall into the really heavy addictions of, let's say, heroin and crack cocaine would be the worst in England, really, at that time. I never ever fell. I had a guardian angel looking out for me. I was just wrapped up in alcohol. And there's something about alcohol that you can function as long as you have your alcohol. So as long as I could get up in the morning and find a shop that weren't quite awake yet and grab a couple bottles of wine and grab myself a bacon baguette, I'm all right for the day. I don't have to be a menace to society. I can just sit by the beach and chill. But that life isn't sustainable, and you're not really living. You're not really living the plan that God may have laid out for us. But also at the same time, I can't help but think that this is exactly the life that I signed up for, because the amount of lessons that I learn when you're on the streets and you have no one and you have to find this, and you might be in this part of the woods for a month, and then that camp gets found out, you got to move. There's all these things that you experience when you are at the other end of life. And one of the things you're gonna experience is prison. You live that life long enough, there's only one place you're gonna end up, either in the graveyard, in a rehab, or in prison. And it just so happened I ended up not in the graveyard yet, but prison 3 times, rehab twice. And so it was true. And I remember people telling me when I was younger, if you carry on with this drinking, there's only 3 places you're going to end up: prison, rehab, or the graveyard. And I remember thinking, come on. And there I was, bouncing from the streets to prison, from prison going to rehab, trying to get sorted, maybe doing okay for a few months, back on the street. It was this vicious cycle. And so when you see me sitting here today, over 2 years sober, in the best shape I've ever been in my life, I'm really, I'm working out twice a week, 3 times a week. I'm still doing my martial arts. I'm on brown belt now, so I'm only a few belts away from black belt, but it starts to slow down. You start having to wait like a year for gradings. So I'm still a few years away from black belt now, but it's something that I'm sticking to. These little things, and none of this, the martial arts, looking after my health, the spirituality, none of this would have actually been possible if I didn't get to that point in life where I just couldn't take it anymore. One of the lowest, definitely, points of my life where I gave up. I did not know what to do. I didn't really believe in a God. I didn't know if a God existed. I felt like there was something out there, 6 years ago. I felt like there was something out there. But I just wasn't sure what was going on. I was still blind. And I screamed. One day I was in floods of tears. I couldn't stop drinking. I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how to get better. I didn't know why I was here on this planet. I didn't know what was going on. I knew there was something so grand that was happening behind the scenes. I knew there was something I was supposed to be doing, but I just could not put my finger on it. And I screamed in this very room, not in the studio part, but over here. I screamed at the top of my lungs, God, heal me or kill me, because I cannot live like this anymore. Every single change every single positive moment, every single piece of stability, recovery, healing, wisdom, every single piece of progression, every single piece of truth happened after that day. After I made a decision, a real decision, that if God was not going to help me to heal, like truly help me, do something miraculous, then I wanted him to remove me from this planet. I couldn't take it anymore. And in that moment, I truly meant it. And I was looking around the room, waiting for it to go black, waiting for my heart to stop. Then God's done something miraculous. From that moment on, I have no longer been able to hold down alcohol. He had healed me. Hadn't healed my mind. I still tried drinking many times after that. But I got 2-3 beers in, a few glasses in, and start projectile vomiting. My body could not hold alcohol anymore. And I could drink like a fish before this. Before this, I could drink 12 cans just to warm up, then go get a bottle of rum. I could drink from morning till night before this. And here I was, hiding up my allotment in the shed, trying to get some beer down me, and I could not drink. I went out for my stag do. Maybe a year after, maybe 2 years after, 3 years after, I'm not sure, a few years after. I tried to cut the drinking down to once a month, and every time I tried, I threw up. And I was trying to defy the prayer I had sent out. Because this is what happens in addiction. The addiction was trying to live still. That energy, that pattern of emotion was trying to live through me still. Energy and emotions are living things. They need feeding. And it was trying to get me to feed that addiction. But God was stopping it every single time until I finally said, I cannot keep being sick. I cannot keep trying to do this. And I stopped. I had enough. It was a process. And sometimes the process happens completely differently to how we think it's going to look. And that's the reason for this story, I'm telling you, because this change that is coming to the human race might look completely different from how anyone expected it to look. Having said that, I really want to send out prayers to the people of Sicily. Anyone who's been following this channel for some time now knows that about a year ago or so, I actually had a vision about a man trapped in the rubble holding the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is based in Sicily, and it was caused by volcanic activity. From what we know from all the data, all of the supervolcanoes around Sicily, around Italy, have woken up. And if we look to Sicily today, the houses are literally crumbling into rubble. It seems the vision is starting to come true, and I really hope the next part brings the least amount of devastation possible, because it was a lake of fire that I saw that caused this. Now, we had a lake of sorts run through Sicily, but made of water. The rain there has been torrential and it isn't over yet. And like I said, the buildings are starting to crumble and disappear. Sicily is a place of thousands and thousands of people. It's been around for generations. The history there is nearly unmatched by anywhere else on the globe, and the beauty is literally outstanding. Unfortunately, lots of these ancient, beautiful places were built on some of the most dangerous places you could ever live anywhere here on earth. We must remember that there is a great, great creator in control of everything. And the people that are definitely likely to be injured or go back home and lose their lives here in the physical, in some of these natural disasters that we're about to see, that would have been in agreement with their soul and with God and their soul family, that they would go back home at that time. And the people who survived and were left, the loved ones, it would have also been in agreement with them that they would have to experience that loss in the physical and learn the lessons that they are going to learn from what we are about to see. I promise you that the world is about to change. I've been promising you this for a long time, and I got so caught up in 2025 being the last year of the Piscean age that I just assumed the world-changing event would happen in that Gregorian calendar time. But if we look astrologically, which is what I should have been doing, I should have been looking to the stars more. That's my fault. I apologise, guys. We can see that the new year starts March 20th, around 2:29 p.m. specifically. That is the spring equinox. That is the true start to the new year, which gives us the month of February and a few weeks into March. So this next 7 weeks, maybe potentially 8 weeks, 6 weeks at the minimum, could be sooner than that, guys. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. But we all know it, we all feel it. You don't need me to tell you. The energy on the planet right now is. Do you know what it feels like to me? I just got this amazing picture in my mind. I just saw a cork in a bottle, and 2025 just went like that and just shook up that bottle. It shook that bottle. In 2026, I just see that pop. That's the image I just got in my head. The pressure has literally. We're there. We're there. As a race. Not as an individual now. As a race. It don't matter whether you're doing good today or you're doing bad today. As a race. We are there. The dam is full and about to break. The levees can barely hold back the energy of rising consciousness. And the elites are bloody terrified about it. So just keep an eye out. We have been talking for years now about the different possibilities. So natural disaster that's been all in my visions since day one. Natural disaster, that's something that's completely out of our hands and something that's completely in the hands of the Creator. So when it comes to natural disasters, we have to have faith, but not blind faith anymore. Don't just take my word for it, guys. Don't just take my word for it. Do your research. We're in the age of Aquarius. No more blind faith. Now we're stepping into our own power where we can find these things out for ourselves, which is so, so beautiful. So, so beautiful. First contact with aliens, finding out we're not alone. I know it's kind of obvious, and I know, but if you're new to this channel, we're kind of on that page here. You're not going to convince me we're alone in this universe. You're probably not going to convince half of this community. And if you are still skeptical, have some conversations. Leave it in the comments below. Let me know your worries, your fears, why you don't think that there's anything else out there. And if you do think that there's many, many other species of living beings and entities, interdimensional or otherwise, then also let me know in the comments below, because it's super, super interesting to hear everybody's opinions on it. Me personally, we're not alone. Come on. Let's wake up. We're not alone. But we're right there. We could find that out. Not find it out. How they could finally admit it. Because they've admitted it already in little pockets. But that hasn't been put on the BBC. That hasn't been put on CBS and CNN and ABC. Come on. It hasn't been put on Channel 4. It's hidden. Little hidden. And then it's mocked. And then, around the truth, they'll release loads of propaganda to hide it, to try and bury it. They'll get a diamond and they'll try and bury it in the sand and say, no, you did see something shiny there. You did see a little gem, but we're going to surround it with all these plastic gems. All these plastic gems. We're just going to hide it. Now it's costume jewellery. Yeah? They take real gems and they turn it into costume jewellery so no one will bother looking at it no more. That's what they do. So we have to keep an eye out for that. We have to keep an eye out for the actual... I don't want to call them aliens. I don't know if aliens is the right word anymore. I'm going to say... I don't even know if they're different species from ours. See, they could be humans from different timelines. We don't know what to call other species, interdimensional or other, of this planet or not. I don't know. We're going to have to think of a new word, guys. Put it in the comments below. What can we call? Because alien doesn't seem to fit the bill no more because we're alien to them. But we call ourselves humans. But are we aliens? Are we aliens? You know? We have a mutated, genetically engineered human genome, number 2, from 200,000 years ago, which gave us empathy, creativity, the artistic license to create the Renaissance. I love that word. Renaissance. Yeah? So are we alien? Are we really of this planet? So is alien the right word to call someone else who comes and visits? Are we visitors of this planet? Yeah, we're born here now, but where did we come from? You know what I mean? Where did we come from? Good question. And then the other one, no one's talking about it anymore. 3i Atlas. What happened? What happened? Why is all of a sudden there's like an internet blank on 3i Atlas? I think that's very strange. It hit me this morning. All of the people that were like talking, they've all gone on to other subjects now. Like there's been some sort of mass, like, psychosis. Some mass insomnia of the brain. You know, just forgetfulness. Like, whoa, 3i Atlas, what happened? Just flew off. No one's talking about 3i Atlas anymore, and I think that's very interesting. It just disappeared all of a sudden. You know, any content about it. Very, very interesting stuff. So we've got natural stars, and then you've got WARs. I don't like putting the word out into fruition because words are spells. You've got WARs. Yeah, we're I mean, like I said, pick a dart, throw a dart. You know, pick a dart and throw it. You know, pick a dart and throw it, because it could be everything. It could be everything. But there is one thing for sure, my beautiful, beautiful soul experiences. You have chosen to be here at this great time of awakening. We are right there. We are so close. The breaks, the cracks, they're showing. We are about to pop that little, yeah? Little poppity pop is about to blow up. And you're all here for it. So there's no need to be in fear because you chose to be here. If you're still here, you chose to be here. And that can only mean one thing. You are a brave, brave, beautiful soul. And I want to thank you for being down here on earth with me and all of us at this great time of awakening. It is tough, but it is beautiful. And if there's one thing we like on earth, it's a little bit of beauty. So till next time, guys, please, please, please love all those around you. Because if you don't love those around you, they can't give you the love that you truly deserve. But most of all, don't forget to love yourself. You're a beautiful, all-powerful creator being. And it might not feel like that every single day. We have our down days because guess what? We've come here for a human experience. Yeah? If we wanted it to feel like heaven, we would have remained home in heaven. So brave, brave soul, do not forget how strong you truly are. Little channels like this are just little thorn pricks in the fire of the great control system. But together, we make a big prickly bush. Yeah, lots of thorns. Lots of thorns. Become a prickle with me and join the bush of revolution. Oh yes, the bush of revolution. Yeah, you have the tree of life. Yeah, now we have the prickly bush of revolution. And if you want to be a prickle in this bush, all you have to do to become a soul experiencer is hit that subscribe button. I would love you to become a part of this community. And if any of you at any time want to jump on a live and record a video and give your opinions firsthand on the channel, just let me know. I would love to have a conversation with any single one of you. It doesn't matter where you're from, what your opinions are, whether you disagree with literally everything I've just said and you hate my guts for some reason. That is also fine, and I send you love. I would also love to have a conversation with you. So till next time, all you beautiful soul experiences, I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves, take care of those around you, the birds, the bees, the trees, fathers, mothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. We got the whole family going on. If you're lucky enough to have a big family around you. If you're on your own, I love you, man. I love you, bro. I love you, sis. We're in this together. I love you, I love you, I love you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There is not one single person on this planet that I am not sending love to today. My friend and my foe, my enemies especially. I love you all. And I see you all soon. Take care for now, you beautiful bunch. See you soon.